going, about the balance between the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. And we're always looking for balance. It's not like we want to just be slugs and lay down all day long and have our parasympathetic nervous system run the show. We want our sympathetic system to be functioning, but we want a sense of balance so that we can easily slip between the two, into the stream between the two. So the restorative practices of yoga are really good for heightening that rest and renewal aspect of our nervous system. And I think sometimes we're a little remiss in including that in our yoga practice. We tend to, do the physical activity of a practice and reach into the breath and all these beautiful things, which are amazing. But this is one of the things I've noticed different about Zoom yoga versus in studio yoga. So for instance, in all of my classes, they used to be an hour and 15 minutes long, and now they're an hour long. And those 15 minutes were like the luxury minutes, right? Where we could include a Supta Baddha Konasana and relax a little bit. So I'm going to try in the month of December anyway, and moving into January, kind of like these darker times where it's very normal and healthy for us to go with that rhythm of the earth where we're resting more, balanced with some physical activity. So I'm going to try to include a little bit more restorative practices all across the board, but especially in a gentle yoga. It's really important to sometimes take time and not get off the floor very much. It doesn't have to always be about the standing poses. So today we're going to do a gentle practice that's going to include a few restorative poses. And what I want you to think about when you get into those restorative poses is truly accepting rest, to use it as a gift, that yoga is giving you a gift, that you being in the yoga posture that's restorative is a gift to your nervous system for renewal and replenishment, and not just whittle the time away while you're in Supta Baddha Konasana to be thinking about your shopping list or your the to-do list around your house or whatever. So to be really present for the rest is just as important as being present for the vigorous, more active postures. So let's go ahead and sit up straight and tall and take a moment to notice, how are you today? How's your body? As you close your eyes, go first to where you immediately sense tension within you. Is there any part of you that tends to hold tension very easily? And let's go there. Maybe it's your skull. Maybe you feel like your brain presses up against your skull bones and it needs some surrender. Maybe it's your shoulders that like to creep up and connect to your ears. And maybe you can have some surrender there. Maybe it's in anywhere. You scan your body and find the places that like to grip and hold. See if you can use your breath, kind of like the way you feel when you pet a cat, that softness that comes over you, or pet a dog, the instant ease, presence. See if you can let your breath be as soothing as stroking an animal that you love. So it's kind of like the stroke that you get for yourself. Is there a part of your body that needs care today, that needs love, compassion, understanding, acceptance, presence, healing? So if you're able to reach that part of your body, go ahead and put your hand atop that part of your body and just see what it feels like to hold and give some energy. Stay in the presence of your breath. All right, and then let's release that hold. Place the palms together at your heart and take a moment to bow in. Feel that sense of balance between your hands, connection. Let the mind come into that centered place as well and offer an intention. What do you need today? All right, let's release the hands and come onto your back. All right, so make sure you have some props nearby. We're going to need everything today, everything you got. Strap, blocks, blankets, if you have a bolster, sandbag, heck, whatever you got. Okay. All right, so let's first just start by lying down on the floor, and you decide, depending on how your back feels, maybe you want your legs straight, maybe you want your knees bent and your feet on the floor. So just see what's giving you that sense that you can feel spacious and free, that your body can relax, that you can give a cue with this horizontal position that your nervous system can surrender a bit. There's nothing to be vigilant about. All right, and then go ahead and reach the right side, reach the left side, come into the openness. You can feel some invigoration and stretch. All right, and then bring the knees into the chest and rock a little bit from side to side. Swaying one direction, swaying the other direction. And just feel the rocking. Rocking is very good for the nervous system. If you've ever been in a hammock or a rocking chair or a porch swing or whatever, rocking that you've had, it can be so soothing. So allow yourself to self-soothe. And then come into stillness of the rocking and let's circle the knees. And you can even stay in the rocking vibe while you're circling the knees. And then go the other direction. Circle the other way. Let this be a little massage for the backside of your sacrum. See if you can notice the SI joints, the sacroiliac joints. And then come into stillness with your knees hovering over your hips. So stretch your arms straight. So we're not bringing your knees to our chest yet. Just let them land in a straight arm hold. And just suspend your shins, suspend your hips. See if you can let your hands on your knees be the anchor so that all your muscles can relax for a moment. And then let's get into some bigger hip movements. So knees out, knees back in. What kind of movement pattern feels nice? Are you circling or straight lines or semicircles? What's here? And then hold your knees open for a moment. So keeping your feet relaxed, so not moving into happy baby pose, just allowing the knees to spread apart from each other. And then find where you want to be. Do you want to bring your knees a little closer toward your ribs, a little further from your ribs? Find the spot that's, opening up your hip joints a little bit. Take a deep breath here. And then bring your knees back in. Pull your chin up. Give yourself a tight little hug. Squeeze your face, your feet, and everything in between. And then inhale and open out to a big old stretch. Arms and legs wide on the floor. Wiggle your fingers and toes while you're here. Roll around your ankles. Roll around your wrists while you're here. Open and close your fingers. Just get the tips of your body to wake up a little bit. And then a big stretch and the hold and squeeze every part of your body you have access to. Give a little pendiculation squeeze. And then relax that and let that go. Bring your knees back into the chest. And let's put our feet flat on the ground. Arms out to the sides. Feet are as wide as the mat. And let's windshield wiper our knees left and right. Just warming up some twisting action in the body. And, we're going to go very gently and slowly today. I'm making up for last week when I kind of beat you guys up in the gentle yoga class. So we'll be extra gentle today. So let's go ahead and find our way from left to right. Breathing as you go. And then we're going to go into a fuller twist. So feet flat on the ground. Lift your hips up and scooch them to the right. Knees come up and drop them to the left. So this is a bigger twist. If you need to support underneath your shin, take a block there. Hold on to the outer right knee. Turn your head to the right. Find your breath. right, now we're going to turn this into an open and closing of a book. So roll over onto your left side, make everything at right angles. So your shins and your thighs are at a right angle, your hips are bent so that your knees are at a right angle to your torso, your palms are together straight out. We're going to open our body up like a book, so stretch the arm open into a twist, and then close your arm back, hands to touch again. And just going back and forth. Where do you want to breathe? Would you rather inhale to open up, or would you rather exhale to open up? So try not to have attachment to rights and wrongs. Just stay in the flow of breathing and the flow of movement in the body. One more time. All right, then stay on your side for a moment. Enjoy your side for a breath. And then as you're ready, we'll roll over onto our back. Bring your knees to your chest. Pick up your head. Squeeze again if you want. And then put your feet down onto the ground, arms out to the sides. Lift up your hips and scooch them to the left. Bring your knees up and drop them to the right. So open up your body in a twist. Always take care. If you need some support, you can take a block underneath the outer right knee. Deep breaths here. Relax your shoulders. What part of your body is waking up? Is there any little nook and cranny in your ribs or in your lungs that is a little heightened in your sensation or view? Breathe there. All right, and then let's go ahead and roll right over onto our right side. You can always support underneath your head if you need it. You can support anything at all. Palms are together. Shins and thighs are at right angles. Torso and thighs are at right angles. Everything is at right angles. Take a deep breath in or out, whatever way you want to breathe. Open up to a twist. And then close back up. Close your book. So think of it like opening and closing a page of a book. Finding the breath. Let the body be kind of free in this. Don't hold yourself so rigidly. Don't feel like you have to go to extremes. One more time. All right, great. And then back onto your back again. Right knee into your chest, left leg long on the floor. Roll the ankles around. Feel the compression. Hips and knees do well with a little compression here and there, so feel that. And then switch sides. Left knee into the chest. Feel the compression at your knee and at your hip, and stretch the right leg long. Feel your feet. Move them around. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and roll over onto your side and come up onto your hands and your knees. So finding your way onto all fours. Okay, so of course, if your wrists are having a challenge, you can always make a different choice than being on your hands. You can come onto your fists or put forearms on the block, whatever, or yeah, forearms on blocks, whatever works. And let's start to wake up our spine. So we've done a little bit of movement in our spine already, but let's find some more. And take your time. Feel free to move slow or fast. Make sure you're breathing. See what kind of little spots you can find, maybe in the back of your neck or between your shoulder blades, maybe it's your low back. Just find some opening wherever you need it to be. All right, and then move things around. So feel free to swirl through your ribs, swirl through your pelvis, get your head involved. Make sure your breath is here. Deepening your inhale, deepening your exhale. All right, and then come back towards child's pose. Have your knees come close or far. Just decide what's comfortable for you. If your knees don't bend super well, you can always come forward and just have your hands, just go back as far as your body will allow. You can support yourself any way you want. You can put a bolster between your shins and your hamstrings. You can put something under your head, whatever is working. All right, walk the hands over to one side, feeling the rib cage open and stretch. Drop weight down into the pelvis. Relax your head. Breathe deeply here. Long inhale and exhale. And then come back, coming to the other side. Relax your forehead into the floor. Drop weight into the pelvis. And then come back up onto your hands and your knees again. One more time, move the spine around. Now, instead of coming back into child's pose, we're going to walk our hands a little bit more forward and stretch back into puppy pose. So the sit bones stay high, a little bit of an arch in the thoracic spine, so let the upper back have a bend. Stretch your thigh bones back. Take a deep breath here, relax your forehead. Maybe it touches the floor, maybe it doesn't. All right, and then come forward. Okay, let's go up to stand. All the way up, finding your breath. We're going to spend a fair amount of time on the floor, but not the whole time. Okay, so let's shake out our hands. Let's shake things out. Roll your wrists. You can start to roll your hands. Let's do some of our nerve glides. Lift your arms. We're going to do it a little differently today. Press your palms. Your fingertips are pointing toward each other. Palms are straight up toward the sky. And then bring them out to the side. Open across your chest. Pull your hands back toward the wall behind you. And one more time. Arms up. Take a breath. Pull your hands back behind your body. Palms facing out. And then relax. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Open across your chest. Bend your knees and come forward. Your arms can leave your spine or they can stay close to your back depending on your flexibility. Relax your neck. Feel the heads of the arm bones move away from your knees. Bend your knees a lot. And then relax and grab onto your elbows and let your arms kind of dangle down a little bit. Shimmy around. You can move your tail. Relax your head. Then inhale for a halfway lift. You can have hands on blocks or the floor or hands on your legs. Then exhale and melt back down. Let's try a halfway lift one more time. I really like the blocks. That's just my preference for a half lift. It allows me to have some softness in my knees without hyperextending and gives me lots of space for my spine to grow. But you decide. You might prefer having your hands on your legs somewhere. Find your breath. And now open up your feet while we're in this halfway lift. Open up your feet. Spread out the bones of your feet. Feel the arches lift up. Stretch your heels down. And for a moment, stretch the backs of your knees. So often I say a little micro bend. Just for a moment, stretch the backs of the knees. Lift the sit bones, drop the heels. And then softly bend and fold in half. Okay. Rise all the way up. Push out through your feet. Arms coming to the sky. Cactus open your chest. And then relax your arms down. Shrug your shoulders a few times here. One direction a couple times and then roll the other direction. Now let's take our standing twist, feet wide apart, maybe to the edges of the mat, maybe not that far apart. You decide and let's just spin. So you can do this. There's so many ways to do this. You can do, a much deeper pose where you're really getting into some squatting. You can kind of go from side to side. You can swing your arms. So, let your spine be free. So enjoy just a freedom of movement instead of a rigid movement. Breathing fully, and then relax and come and just notice, how are you feeling a little bit more alive? Do you have an awakeness in your body? Are you relaxed? I'm hoping you're relaxed. Take a deep breath in, arms coming up again, and then exhale, bend your knees and fold forward, relax your head. Inhale for a halfway lift. The hands on blocks if you like it. The sit bones are high. Exhale and come back down. Let's step our right foot forward. Our left foot comes back. So you can decide, how high you need the blocks to be for a lunge. You can always put your back knee on the floor if you need a little bit more support. So find whatever's working for you. And then let's just open and close the back of that knee a little bit. So front knee bends, and then front knee gets a little straighter. And just go in the range of motion that's available to you for your hamstring and your back. All right, now once you're here in the straighter leg version, so put the blocks any height you want, let's lift up the toes and stretch the calves just a little bit more. And then put that foot down, rise up. Now you can put your back knee on the floor or you can come into crescent lunge, however your body feels best. Your arms can be up, your arms can be out, anywhere that you feel safe and good in the body. Are you stable? Are you grounded? Are your knees not locked in either position? So especially the back knee, we can push it back real hard. See if there's a little micro softness there. Open up across your chest no matter what you're doing with your arms. All right, and then let's go ahead and come back down. Put your knee on the floor if you're comfortable doing so, and bring your hands onto the blocks and rise up again. Just feel the stretch through the hip flexor of the back leg. Opening up the front of the hip. And then relax that. Come back onto all fours. Have your hands onto the ground and have a cat-cow. Notice the difference between your two sides, having done those postures on the one side and not yet on the other. All right, and then let's come to lie down on our belly. Come into Sphinx pose. So take your forearms right underneath, or your elbows right underneath your shoulders. Forearms are forward, and open your chest. Now, if this is not your favorite, maybe try taking your hands wider. You can have your palms down or just your fingertips down. What's going to help you open across your spine while stabilizing through your core and your glutes and your pelvis? And then exhale and release and melt toward the floor. We spend so little time, unless you're a belly sleeper, we spend so little time prone on the ground. So turn your head for a moment. Take a deep breath here. Let it go. All right, come up onto all fours. Find your way into any kind of movement that feels nice in your spine. And then as you're ready, we're going to bring our left foot forward, our right foot's coming back, come into a lunge. Your back knee can stay on the floor, or you can curl your toes under and lift your back knee up off the floor. Feel free to take your foot out to the side more, so have as much support and balance as you need. Blocks come on any height that's supportive for you. Let's start to move. Okay, bending and straightening that front knee. See if you can get this feeling to travel all the way to the base of your skull. So move your head too. As your knee bends, your chest opens. And as your knee straightens a bit, tuck your chin toward your chest. Let the whole back side of the body get some openness and feel yourself move. So let's lubricate. And come into a lunge, and you get to decide whether you want your back knee to stay on the floor. This is very good if your balance is a little wonky today and you need a little more stability, but it may not be so good if you have a knee issue where putting weight on your knee is not so helpful. So you do you. You can always support yourself with a piece of furniture too if your balance is off. Find your breath, put your arms wherever you want them to be. They can be up in the traditional posture, or they can be anywhere else. What's giving you a sense of freedom for your breathing? What's giving you a sense of spaciousness for your neck and shoulders? So if your arms are up in the air, be really mindful that you're not clogged up around your neck. Full breaths here, in and out. All right, and then let's bring our hands down. Lift your toes up toward the sky so the heel is down. Arms can come on the blocks wherever you want them to be. Stretch your heart forward. All right, let's go ahead and bring the back knee down onto the ground and come all the way to the ground with our hands on the floor. Let's enjoy all fours for a moment. Cat-cow. And let's find some bird dogs. So stretch the left leg out behind you. Stretch your right arm out in front of you. Find your balance. So this is a nice way to practice balance because we're close to the ground. So it's a safe, easy way to play with balance in your body. Turn on your glutes. Turn on your hamstrings. Feel the muscles along your spine. Take a deep breath in. Exhale And bring your elbow and knee or hand and knee toward each other. Inhale, bring that back out. One more time. Exhale in. Inhale out. Place the hand and knee down onto the ground and change sides. Right leg coming back. Feel that your hamstrings and your glutes are sharing the responsibility. When you're ready, arm comes out, left arm comes out. And if your shoulder bothers you, you can always take your arm out to the side or back. So just find what's working. Stabilize through your core. Deep breaths here. And then let's move. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, elbow and knee coming toward each other. Inhale, bring it out. Exhale, bring it in. Lengthening it out. Place the hand down onto the ground. Can you believe we haven't done a dog pose yet? So let's go ahead and find our way there. Spread out your hands and your feet. Feel what it feels like to open your body up. Relax your head. Full inhales, full exhales. What does this pose do for you? What do you like about the pose? What's challenging about the pose? How does your breath feel in the pose? All right, and then walk your feet forward, coming into a fold again. Push off your feet and rise up. Let's turn sideways on your mat. Take your legs wide. Okay, find your breath. And let's just do, you get to choose. We're going to do one standing pose each direction. So choose either Virabhadrasana or Parsvottanasana. Maybe a little bit of both if you want to hang out there for a little bit. You can have a little time in each. But just find the openness of your hips. So whatever you're choosing, enjoy. There's not much that we do during the day that really takes our femur bones in this position. So to enjoy, we spend so much of the day with our legs straight, either walking or sitting. To have our legs spread wide apart and rotated is a beautiful thing for our hips to experience. So let's enjoy this. Feel the roots of your feet. Whichever pose you're choosing, maybe you're going through both. And then let's come back up. Turn your feet to the long side of the mat. And take a moment to come into Pasrita between the two sides. So place your hands on blocks or the floor. Thigh bones are back, shin bones move forward. Feel the hamstrings open. Take a deep breath. All right, we're going to bend our knees. Turn both feet out for a minute. I promise we'll get to the other side. But just come into a little bit of a goddess pose. Spin your feet. Heels are moving forward. Toes are pulling backward. Open your chest, try not to lean forward, see if you can come upright. It doesn't matter how high or low you go, just enjoy the deep work in the hip joints and in the muscles around your hips. Are you even weighted in your feet? All right, now let's go ahead and straighten the legs, turn back to the other side and come either into Warrior Two or Parsvottanasana, or perhaps a little bit of each. So hopefully you're feeling like I'm not beating you up as much as last week. Sorry about that. Okay, find your breath. Soften the shoulders down. Sometimes I forget, this is gentle yoga. We're not supposed to be, overwhelming ourselves. So root your feet into the earth. Feel the breath. Maybe you're doing a little bit of both poses. Enjoy the work. Sometimes it's really nice to squeeze muscles. Give them some energy. All right, and then come out of what you're in, and let's turn back to the front of your mat for dog pose. Hands down onto the ground, feet back. Feel free to have your feet hip width apart, wider, closer, what feels nice. Same with the hands. Do you always put your hands in exactly the same spot? For a while, I had my hands wide. Sometimes I like to bring my hands a little more narrow. All right, let's go ahead and come down onto your knees. A bit of a cat-cow, finding the breath. All
right, and then stretch back towards child's pose. Open up the back of the body. Let it breathe. Deep inhales. Deep exhales. Let's stretch our quads just for a moment. So lie down on your right side. Okay. And support. You can always have a block or a blanket underneath your head if you need it. Okay. And the top leg, you're going to bend your knee and grab onto your ankle. Your bottom leg can be bent or straight, whichever feels stable to you. Once you have your knee close to your chest and you're holding onto your ankle, start to bring it away. So you're stretching the quad. The foot is now behind you. If you can't reach your foot to stretch your quad, you can always wrap a strap around your ankle. Finding the breath. Deep inhale. Full exhale. Now, if you want to add a little hip flexor action instead of just your quads, just pull your knee back a little bit. Stabilize through your core. So pubic bone lifts toward the belly button, tailbone descends. And then come back and draw two knees back into the chest. Curl on your side for a moment. And then we're going to roll over onto our other side and stretch our quad on the other side. So knees can be bent, the bottom leg can be straight. You decide however you want to be. Sometimes having a little bit of a bend in that bottom leg, your left leg can stabilize you a little bit more. So just decide what's best for you. If you can't grab your ankle or your foot, use a strap. Stretch your knee. Tailbone stretches too toward your knee. Pubic bone lifts. So a little engagement in your deep abdominal muscles, both your psoas and your transverse abdominis. How's your breath? Try not to take this pose in your neck and shoulders. Find that little tension pattern that you had that we were noticing in the beginning of class. Check in with that. How is your breath? If you want to get into the hip flexors, just pull your knee back a little bit more. Go ahead and relax. When you're ready, come onto your back and bring your knees to your chest. Rock a little bit, side to side. All right, roll over onto your side. We're going to grab our blankets now. So if you can, maybe 2 blankets might be a nice height for this. I have them long fold like this, and I'm going to put them across my mat. I'm going to put my pelvis on them. For a supported bridge pose, you can just pee here for a breath or two. Of course, you can use blocks instead if you want to use a block on your pelvis. But where we're going, I'd like something soft underneath you. So if you are using a block for bridge, have a blanket handy to switch it out in a moment. So just enjoy the pelvis a little bit higher than the heart. This is not a big bridge. This is a small bridge. Deep breaths here. Starting to move into the restorative practices. So one of the most important things you need to bring along on the ride with you is your breath. All right, bring the knees toward the chest. Give them a little hug, just a teeny bit of traction. So now we're on blankets instead of blocks if you had a block. And we're going to cross our right thigh over our left thigh and draw the knees in toward the chest. So, depending, this is a big hip stretch, and you can make it a bigger hip stretch by holding in different places on your legs. So if you want it to go deeper into your hips, hold your ankles and bring so your feet are pulling out away from each other a little bit more. And if this is too deep for your hips, hold higher toward your knees and let your shins relax a little bit more. So just experiment with where you need to be for this pose to be a happy place in your hips. Let the back round just a little bit. That's why we're up on this bolster, to just have a little traction for our lumbar spine. All right, and then go ahead and relax 2 legs straight up in the air. Okay. Wiggle your toes for a moment, and we're going to bring our legs apart. So like a giant V in the air. Find the breath. And then when you're ready, the legs come back up, cross the left thigh over the right thigh, and draw them in again. So depending on your knees, depending on your hips, depending on your ankles, you get to decide where you end up in a posture like this. In every single pose, there's always a way to modify, back off. There's always a way to go deeper. So your job is to just know what your body needs, to follow the rhythm of your breath, to seek stability and freedom instead of egotism or laziness. Sometimes we can be lazy too, like, oh, I don't want to go so deep. I'm just going to hang out here. And sometimes it can be aggressive, like, no, I want to go deeper. I want that full pose. So try to let go of either of those extremes and instead seek stability and freedom. Seek the rhythm of your breathing. Follow those cues instead of the greediness for a pose. All right, let's unwind that. Legs straight up in the air again. We're going to just hang out with your legs in the air. You're staying on the blankets for a moment. Open up your legs like a V. We're going to only be here for a breath or two. Just letting the inner thighs stretch a little bit after the hips, tightness that can come from that pose we just did. Then bring the legs back in. Now just imagine that your legs are weightless. So find just the sweet spot of where your legs need to be. Maybe for you, it's a little forward toward your chest. Maybe it's a little further back. Maybe your knees need to bend a little bit. Maybe your knees need to go straight. Just see what helps you feel weightless and allow the weight that is there to drop into the pelvis. See if you can feel the heaviness of your femur bones dropping into the hips. And feel the lightness. Are your feet getting lighter? Can you sense the lymph moving? Can you sense the blood flow returning back toward the heart? Do you feel like your feet are getting lighter? Some people don't like this pose because they feel like their feet get cold or a little more absent. So just notice, what sensation change are you having when you invert? Now, obviously, this isn't as relaxing as if we had our feet against a wall. So just notice if there's a little inner shake at all. And then the knees come into the chest. And let's move, rocking. Push the blankets out of there, come onto your back. Let the thighs rest on the blanket for a moment. So right above your knees, let those thighs have blankets underneath them. Finding your breath. We're not in Shavasana, but just let that happen just for a moment here. Now with the blankets staying here, we're going to put our feet on top of the blankets. Now this is where it gets a little tricky. Sometimes I fold my mat over it so I have some stickiness so my feet will stay. And then other times I do this with my whole blanket and everything against a wall so that my feet my toes touch the wall so they won't slide. And then sometimes I wrap a strap like Supta Baddha Konasana around your feet and your pelvis so that you stay put. So if you feel yourself drifting, try to make one of those changes, either putting a mat on top of your blankets so your feet stick a little bit, the outside edges of your feet stick, or coming closer to a wall so your toes are against a wall so you stay put. If you want to use a strap like regular Supta Baddha Konasana, that's fine too. Take a breath and just start preparing the pelvis to be open and free. Relax your body here. Can you stay? I don't mean your physical body in the pose. I mean your mental body in the pose. Can you stay? Part of the joy of restorative practices is letting the mind rest, not just the body. So the nervous system is such a beautiful, responsive component of both our mind and our body.
It's silly to think that we can separate ourselves out, mind and body. They are one. Whatever we think affects the rhythm in our bones, and however we move affects our thinking. Come into the breath over and over. Let your eyes close. Breathe deeply. There are so many different ways to do Supta Baddha Konasana. This is just one. We have an open pelvis, an open diaphragm, an open belly, an open chest, an open throat. These are all our most vulnerable places. So enjoy your openness, your vulnerability. Let the vulnerability be freedom. Let the breath be freedom. Melt your body and be supported. The earth is holding you. All right, so to come out of the pose, let's go ahead and hold to the outside of your knees and draw them in toward each other. And then bring the knees toward the chest and just rock a little bit if it feels good. Give a good squeeze, maybe a happy baby pose if your body needs something a little deeper. Whatever you need, just rocking from side to side. The next pose we're going to do is a restorative twist. So with your blankets, if you have a bolster, you can use a bolster. We're going to have the blankets in their long fold off to our right side. So you're going to sit on the floor with your legs straight out in front of you, and your blankets are perpendicular to your legs out from your hip. We're going to bend our right knee, so our foot tucks next to our hip, and we're going to turn. Now, if your knee doesn't do this, not to worry, you can do it after you twist, which will make it easier. We're going to turn our belly and lay our belly down on the blankets. If you can turn your head to the right, that's great. And if you can't, turn your head back to the left. So go where your neck is most comfortable. And now, if you were not able to bend your left knee, now you probably can because it's not so deep. So just mess around, play until you get to a place where you're feeling like you're resting your chest, resting your belly, resting your head. And it may not feel like what's the point? What am I doing here? Why am I in this pose? But there is some deep work happening, especially in the low back. So let's just enjoy the compression, in the gentle compression in our hip, especially after opening it up so much in Supta Baddha Konasana. Let's just enjoy. How's your breath? Remember to treat your neck with care. Turn it in the place that feels most comfortable.
Do you like resting your torso on something? Is it soothing to lay down? And then we're going to come on up. Be gentle on the way up. Take your time. You can lie down and bring your knees together. You can sit up and bring your knees together before we do the other side. And then we'll flip. So now the blankets are going to be on our left, coming out from our left hip. The left leg is straight. You can start out with both legs straight if you want, or you can bend your right knee and half virasana. And then turn your torso toward the bolster. If you were not able to bend your knee, now you can. And which way do you want your head turned, left or right? Try to get the twist in there. So you want your torso, your belly to be resting on the bolster if you can, instead of just being on your left side. If you're hanging out here just completely on your left side, it's not as comfortable, first of all. And second of all, you just lose the element of the twist, which is so good. You know, your diaphragm, it gets a little good squeeze when you twist. And we want this to be gentle. We don't want this to be deep. But we want to have some of that resistance against our breath. So we have to wake the diaphragm up in a very soothing way. Deep inhale, deep exhale. Let's go ahead and find our way. Coming out of the pose, come onto your back. Bring your knees to your chest and rock just like we did in the very beginning. So rocking side to side with the knees in. And as you assess and scan your body a little bit here, what do you need? What do you need? A little happy baby pose? Do you need to stretch your limbs out? Do you need to rock from side to side? And then decide how you want Shavasana to be. So, you know, do you want a lot of support underneath your knees? Do you need support under your head? Would you rather be on your side? So take whatever way you need to move into Shavasana. And remember, Shavasana is the greatest of the restorative poses. It's really important to, if you're running fast on your yoga time, you know, where, oh, I gotta go, I don't have time for Shavasana. In my humble opinion, it's better to skip some other pose along the journey and make sure you allow time for Shavasana every time at the end of your practice. It's one of the most unique aspects of a yoga practice versus any other form of physical activity, is that we build in this restoration. We give ourselves time to incorporate and integrate everything we've done. We give ourselves time to feel the presence of rest. So as you lie down, feel the presence of rest melt your body. If you're not comfortable, make a change, adjust something.
Scan for the places that hold. Melt what you can. Let the brain rest inside the skull bones. Let the facial expressions dissolve. Feel the weight of you and give your gift of your weight to the earth. Pay attention to your breathing. Make sure you feel warm, soft, supported. Let's begin to deepen our breathing again. Before moving, spend a few breaths enjoying rest and rejuvenation. What does it feel like in your nervous system right now to have this sense of quiet and ease? Are you able to pull into that shift quickly, or are you still kind of ramped up? What is your need? And if you find that the layers of tension dissolve quickly, that's awesome. And if you decide that they maybe don't dissolve so quickly, it's a cue that you need more of this. You need more restorative practices to help you. So all the easy poses of yoga, and by easy I mean easy on the nervous system, not easy effort-wise. The restorative poses are always available. They're great to do in the evening before bed. And if you ever need help trying to figure out, a little list, just ask me. The poses are in plenitude to choose from. Let's go ahead and move a bit. And stretch. Breathe. Come onto your side as you are ready to. Take your time. Go ahead and find a comfortable seat. Take a full deep breath. Let it out. And do it again. Offer your practice, share your energy, your calm energy. Namaste. Thank you, friends.